A very warm evening to all the MBA aspirants. This is Sheetal, your verbal teacher here at Hitbullseye, and I am back again with yet another live to help you, to guide you, to lead you to ace the preparation of your MBA entrances. Be it any exam, we take up all those topics and try to deal with it at length so that you score best in your examination. So if you remember, in the last class we did verbal reasoning. We almost introduced what verbal reasoning is, and today's lecture is going to be a continuation of it. So we did some basic terms, the very basic terms of the verbal reasoning. We saw what the meaning of those terms are. What do we mean when we say verbal reasoning? How is it different from logical or analytical reasoning? And today we will deal with some more question types so that it is further reinforced in your mind, you know it better, and you can anticipate each and every type of question that you come across in your upcoming exams. So a quick recap of what we did in the last lecture and the practice questions. These are what the objectives we have for the today's live. Without any further ado, let's start with the lecture. So the types of questions that we will be dealing with today is implied assumptions, strong and weak arguments, inferences, and conclusion based question. So we will take one or two questions for each of these three topics, and we will see how to deal with those questions. So students often get confused between these questions. We will see them one by one. It will further be clear to you how to deal with it. So a quick revision of what we did in the last lecture. So here, if you can see, there are some terms, key terms, which is assumptions, arguments, inference, and conclusion. So first of all, what are arguments? You know, any statement issued by a speaker, anything written by someone is known as statement, which consists of facts. Statements consist of stated facts and unstated facts. And these unstated facts are also known as assumptions. See, this is the first thing we are going to cover. The thing, the idea, the notions that must have been taken granted by the speaker before issuing a statement are known as assumptions. Alright, so you know what statement is. So here we are simply talking about normal, mere statements, plain statements. But what is the difference between an argument and a statement? The difference is, when a statement is supported with a proper reasoning, it leads us towards a definite conclusion. So argument is a statement issued by the speaker plus a reasoning which makes it valid and leads us towards a definite conclusion. Conclusion is the thing, the idea that the author is trying to convince us for. What is he suggesting? What the progression of the ideas that he is suggesting leads us towards a definite conclusion, right? Argument is statement and a reasoning. You need to understand this. And inference is hidden conclusion. So I've put a slash here because they can be used interchangeably. You might get questions on conclusion and even on inference. So on the basis of the given statement, which consists of 2 to 3 sentences, just like a short paragraph, there will be certain conclusion, or let's say some hidden conclusion, which you have to deduce after critically analyzing those statements. What is the author trying to convince us for? Right? I hope all of these key terms are revised now. Let's see what kind of questions can come in the exam. So this is what the directions are for questions based on assumptions. In each of the following questions below, a statement is followed by two assumptions numbered 1 and 2. So you'll have a statement followed by two assumptions. As assumption is something supposed or taken for granted. So you have to consider the statement and the following assumptions and decide which of the assumption is implicit in the statement, which means which can be validly apt for the statement. What can be that one assumption which might have been assumed by the author before saying something? So what kind of questions do you need to mark? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mark 1 if the assumption 1 is implicit or implied. Mark 2 if only assumption 2 is implied. Mark 3 if either 1 or 2 is implied. Mark 4 if neither of the two statement is implied. Mark 5 if both assumption 1 and assumption 2 are implied or implicit in the given statement. So don't worry, whenever you get such questions in exam, you are going to get these instructions also, these directions also. So now you know what does mark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mean. Let's see the first question. The first question before you is, interviews conducted for selecting people for jobs should measure personality characteristics of the candidates. Read it, understand it. What the statement is, what is the author saying? That whenever there is a company, people who are hiring employees, what do? They conduct interviews for selecting people who they think should get the job, who are apt for the job. What do they do? Why do they do so? They do it to measure the personality characteristics of the candidate. Now, on the basis of this statement, think it yourself. What must be the criteria for it? Why did they say this? Is it because performance on job depends on personality characteristics? Because interviews are to check the personality. So is it the hidden assumption or the second one? Personality characteristics can be measured in the interviews. Think about it. You know, assumptions can be more than one, and assumptions are according to the author or with respect to the author. So you have to think one such assumption which must have been in mind of the interviewer or people, those who set interviews to check the personality. So try to answer this one. Should it be 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5? Let's see who will be the first one to answer this. So obviously, if the purpose of the interview is to check the personality characteristics, this definitely means that the interviewers believe that performance on job depends on personality characteristic. The personality of a person, what they are testing today, will eventually reflect the quality of work that they will perform after being hired, right? So yes, this is implicit. So this one is right. Personality characteristics can be measured in interviews. Obviously, this is the whole purpose of the interview. If personality characters cannot be measured by the interviews, what would be the purpose of conducting the interview? Why the waste of time and the money and the resources, right? So yes, again, this is also implicit. So which answer we will mark out of the 5? Answer is both 1 and 2 are implicit. As easy as that. You have to answer these questions this way. Let's see one more question. If you want timely completion of work, provide independent cabins. A suggestion by a speaker, he is saying that he's suggesting maybe to the boss or the head of the organization that if you want people to complete their work in time, you should provide them independent cabins. Now, what do we mean by independent cabins? So this is something you should understand first, and only then you will be able to guess the assumption. An employee tells the director of a company. See, this is the quotations as it is. What the employee suggested to the director of the company. So again, it is followed by 2 assumptions. There are not enough cabins, or others' presence hinders timely completion of work. What could have been the probable reason for the employee to suggest this to the director? Is it because there are not enough cabins? Can we say that? Maybe there are enough cabins, but then there is a lot of disturbance. There is a lot of distraction, right? So this is something we cannot be sure about because it has no substance, not proof enough in the statement. So we can eliminate this one. Others' presence hinders timely completion of work. Yes, this can be the probable assumption. This is the reason why the employee suggested independent cabins. By independent cabin, he means independent space where a person is not disturbed or distracted by the presence of other employees. So yes, this one is implicit. So which one should I mark here? The second option. I hope this is clear now, how to deal with questions of assumption in verbal reasoning. Let's see some questions based on argument. Again, it is the directions are given to you that in each of the following question, one statement is followed by two argument. Just as in the previous one, a statement was followed by two assumption. Here it will be followed by two arguments, one supporting the statement and the other opposing it. What are the arguments? The proper reasoning that validates a statement. Right, so you have to find out the correct reason for a statement, the issuing of a statement. And again, you can mark 1 if only argument 1 is strong. For the assumption, we say implicit, implied assumption. For arguments, we say strong or weak argument. So if only 1 is strong, you can mark 1. If only 2 is strong, mark 2. If both of them are strong, you can mark 3. If neither of them is strong, mark 4. And 5, if either one or second argument is strong, but we do not know which one, right? Okay, so you have a question in front of you. Statement says, should higher education be completely stopped for some time? What can be the reason for it? The proper reasoning, the valid reasoning, strong enough. Arguments are no, it will hamper the country's progress, and second, yes, it will reduce the number of educated unemployed. So which argument do you think is strong? You can read the statement again. Should higher education be completely stopped for some time? Should it be stopped, higher education in our country? The first argument says that it will hamper a country's progress. That's absolutely true. Because only if we are educated, we have knowledge, we'll be professional, we'll have the knowledge of how to deal with things, how to work towards the betterment of the country. So yes, first one is a strong argument. That stopping the education for some time will definitely hamper the country. Right? And the second one is yes, it will reduce the number of educated unemployed. So this is a problem we are facing. There are a lot many educated unemployed in our country. But is education to be blamed for it? To deal with it, should the education be stopped altogether? Educating people will not, stopping educating people will not deal with this problem. If a person is employed or not, even though he's educated, is something which depends upon the individual or individualistic choice. Let's say there might be a graduate who would like to work on farm or do something else or leave it altogether because he don't have to work. He have enough money, enough backup, strong backup. So being educated and unemployed is something which will not be dealt by stopping the education. So this argument can be negated. So which one is the strong? Only argument 1 is strong. So this is how you have to deal with these questions. Let's see if you are able to do the next one now. Should all news be controlled by government in democracy? India is a democratic country. Apply it to the real knowledge, the real field, and think about it. Should all news be controlled by the government in democracy? Arguments are yes, variety of news confuses people. So we know there are n number of news channels supporting or opposing particular ideologies or parties or laws. But does that mean it will confuse us? Should there be just a mainstream news channel giving one type of opinion? No, right? We need to have different perspective. We need to see pros and cons of everything and decide it for ourselves. So this argument is not strong enough. So we can eliminate this one. No, controlled news loses credibility. Obviously, because if there is only one news channel and it knows, people working there, they know that there are no competitors in the market, and general public will have to believe what we are giving them, what we are feeding them. So how would we know if it is credible or not? Should we trust it or not? The things that are being shown to us, delivered to us, are they even authentic, right? So this argument is strong because this is against the statement. So argument 2 is strong. We have to tick the second question, the second option. Right, let's see some statement and conclusion questions now. First of all, a statement is a formal account of certain facts, views, problems, or situation. It can also be a hypothesis, right? Expressed in words. A conclusion, a quick revision of what a statement is and what a conclusion is. Let's see. A conclusion is a judgment or a decision reached after consideration about the given statement. Are the statement or the things stated in the statements lead us towards the conclusion or not? To reach a conclusion, think only about the information given in the statement. There is no need to assume anything else or add any further or extra information from your outside knowledge, your intuition, your emotions, your character traits. All you need to do is believe and see what is given in the statement on a superficial level and answer according to it. So here you have a question of conclusion. In the following question, a statement is given, followed by 2 conclusions. Give the answer. So this is the format, the direction of the questions. If only first conclusion follows, if only second conclusion follows, if either conclusion follow, if neither conclusion follows, and the fifth one is if both first and second follow. More or less the same kind of direction for all the questions, right? It's just that the language changes a little bit. And now you have your question, the last question for today, which I'm expecting you will definitely answer. So even if you're watching this video after the live, you can pause it and try to guess the answer of this. This is these type of questions, the verbal reasoning, critical reasoning kind of question, trust me, they are very interesting. So government has spoiled many top-ranking financial institutions by appointing bureaucrats as directors of these institutions. So look for the keywords. They are talking about financial institutions in particular. Here, the suggestion by the speaker is that government has spoiled many top-ranking financial institutions. And why has government spoiled the top-ranking financial institution? By appointing bureaucrats as directors of these institutions. So because direction is not appropriate, this is the reason for the pathetic condition of the financial institution, and this has all been blamed on the government. So who are bureaucrats? So people, those who go for civil services, are bureaucrats. The IAS, IPS, they are known as bureaucrats. So we are talking about a set of people who are into administrative services, who've qualified administrative examinations, and then they've been put as director for the financial institution, right? So conclusions given here are government should appoint directors of the financial institution taking into consideration the expertise of the person in the area of finance. So even if the government is appointing the bureaucrats, no issues, but the person must possess some background of financial knowledge about the finances of the country. So in that case, it would be perfectly fine. So yes, this conclusion can be followed. Or the other conclusion is the director of the financial institution should have expertise commensurate with the financial work carried out by the institute. Whatever person they are hiring for the position of the director, he must have expertise according to the need of the financial institution. Only then will it work properly. So yes, again, this conclusion is also absolutely correct, right? So which one should we mark? First and second, both the conclusion follows, and if you remember, if both first and second follow was the fifth option. So yes, this is the right option. So we are almost done with verbal reasoning. Now you know what kind of questions come in verbal reasoning. When you try to solve these type of questions, trust me, you believe yourself to be the very much Sherlock Holmes himself. These are very interesting and engaging. It's just that you have to open up or broaden your horizons to deal with these type of questions. This is not passive reading. This is you critically analyzing or understanding the piece or the given statements. I hope you found the video helpful, and if you did, please do not forget to share and subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more such awesome stuff. That's all for today. Thank you.